is something that makes
we're coming back to see the kind of radical things that would happen, the radical decisions that they will be making in their 100 days in office, if at all they are elected. But let's take a look at some of the pillars that form that manifesto by NASA on our super wall. Well, some of the major pillars there are nation building, state building, transforming governance in the country, realizing social and economic rights, creating jobs, and eradicating poverty, as well as regional and international cooperation. These are some of the main pillars on the NASA manifesto that was launched yesterday in the evening. And under each of these pillars, there are explanations on how they are going to achieve the specific things. Like, for instance, when you take a look at health, they mentioned that they will be establishing a national universal health service fund where you will go to hospital. Of course, every Kenyan will be giving out an amount of money, but you will go to hospital and they will not be billing you, but billing that particular fund. How is that realistic?
But what's the difference between that and what NHIF is already offering? Because when you have a manifesto that just is based on trying to change everything that has happened before, and you want to put in something different, then you get it wrong. Because Kenya, think about it like a company. It's a going concern. The country is not in abeyance or stopped waiting for somebody to turn the key on. We are already moving. There are things already in place. The things that were handed over from the Moi government to the Kibaki government to the Kenyatta again government, and now we are looking at another transition. It's one of those things where I wish politicians in Kenya would understand. Even if we are in opposition, we are trying to look at a way to better what Kenyans already have, rather than creating something new. So for me, for example, one of the successes I can celebrate in the last 5 years is, in the last 4 years, that at least now NHIF is doing a lot more than what it used to do, because I've used NHIF for a while, and all I could do with it is, when you go to hospital, there's the NHIF rebate if you get admitted. But it was good for nothing else. Now we are hearing all the stories of how people are accessing treatment. All over the world, they're accessing treatment. Even here, it's going for more than just bed. It's now dialysis and other things. Why would somebody want to deconstruct that and set up a fund for what else? And one thing that even with the Jubilee Manifesto, one thing I'm seeing is this push towards having a sort of welfare state, where the state takes up duties that to make life easier for people, yes, but are still being paid for by government. We ought to come to a place where we realize government ought to be creating an enabling environment for business to thrive, for people to make money. I mean, you can't argue the fact that if you've got money in your pocket, you don't care how much the dawa costs. You'll pay for it and move on. But even if I don't have money, and I go to hospital and give a medicine and I'm told you must eat before you take this medicine, and there's nothing for me to eat because there's nothing for me to make so that I can have food, we have to strike a balance.
Okay.
One of the things that I'm also noticing when we are in this manifesto season is we have to realize in Kenya, for example, I don't see that manifestos do much in terms of swaying how the voters go, because there are other factors that work for Kenyans in terms of persuading them how to go. But one of the things that we see with manifestos moving forward, if we are going to look at what happens in the primaries, is that we are actually having a section of the voters who scrutinize these things, who actually hold their government to account. And this group is actually growing. So it makes sense for the parties to invest in manifestos that they know that even if they cannot score everything on their manifesto, they can defend